Welcome to Kicks Minivans, the podcast for dads, especially the ones that love sneakers. I am your host, KG, and however you're watching and listening, you could be watching and listening to anything in the world right now. So the fact that you're here hanging out means a whole lot to me, so I appreciate that. Well, hey, this is the preview episode of Kicks Minivans. We are officially launching on November 7th. We'll be dropping 2 episodes that day, so we hope you'll check us out. And here we just want to give you a little preview of what to expect. And so, just a little bit about me. I am a full-time stay-at-home dad. I know there's not a lot of us, but shout out all the other stay-at-home dads out there. I'm a full-time stay-at-home dad to 2 little dudes, Jason, Corey, about 2.5 years old and about almost 8 months old now. And they keep me busy, man. They run me, bro. And so I take care of them full time, run the house. I've been doing that for over 2 years now, which is really weird for me, really hard to believe. But I was born and raised right outside of Philly. Spent the last 8 years before I became a full-time dad. I was out there for the last 8 years working full-time in the church as a kids and youth pastor in 2 different churches out in that area. And then shortly after our first son was born, we made the decision that we wanted someone to stay home with them full-time. And my wife made more money and worked less hours. And so that kind of became the thing. And I kind of wanted to be able to stay home with them and raise them too. So it's just something that worked out. And then shortly after that, we moved out here. And my wife is a nurse. My wife, Becky, one of the most amazing women I've ever met one of the most amazing humans I've met in my entire life. She's my best friend, my number one fan, supporter, encourager. Literally, this thing would not be happening without her. So shout out to my wonderful wife, Becky. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for your support and encouragement. And thank you for buying me sneakers because you make all the money. So I want to tell you how this thing got started, right? A little over a year ago, my wife tells me that we're expecting our second child. And so not long after that, it didn't take me long, I was like, honey, we got the money. Like, we need a minivan. Like, we really do. Like, I was driving a Ford Escape, and I hated that car so much. I just needed a reason to ditch it, right? And this was a perfect reason to me. Like, we were maxed out on space when we went out of town, like, all that stuff. It's like you throw one kid and a dog in there, it's like we were full, man. And I was like, minivan, we'll get all the elbow room. And so she's like, well, what about an SUV? I was like, a minivan, we'll get all the elbow room. I said, we gotta. And so we started looking at some different minivans online and stuff. No joke. We went and looked at one in person, bought the first one we saw. The very first one. We felt like we got a great deal on it. It was a pretty good deal. But like, we bought that John immediately. Drove it off the lot and everything, man. And it's been great for us, man. I don't care what you say. Like, you can clown me for driving a minivan. Bro, my side doors open with the push of a button. I stand in my house. I open the doors from inside of my house. Open the garage door. My kid goes out to the garage. He gets himself in his car seat. Like, you can't tell me nothing. Your Escalade don't got that. Your pickup truck don't got that. Your Mustang don't got that. My minivan got that. So I don't care what you say, man. I'm going to drive a minivan. I'm going to drive that thing until the kids are gone, and I might get a nicer, newer minivan at some point. But, like, I'm going to be driving a minivan until the kids are, like, out the house, man. This thing has literally been life-changing. Absolutely love this minivan. And whatever you're driving, like, that's cool. We want you to listen to Kicks and Minivans, even if you haven't come around to the minivan life yet. I strongly encourage it, especially if you got more than one kid. Even 2 kids. You don't need 3 or 4 kids to have a minivan, man. Like, 2 kids. 2 kids. Get yourself a minivan. But a little bit after that, playing Xbox with my dude, Anthony. Anthony Washington, one of my best friends. We're on the Xbox. And he's clowning me because he's got the nice pickup truck, And so he's clowning me a little bit for the minivan. He's like, oh, am I going to start catching you in the dad shoes, the white New Balances, the Nike Monarchs? And I was like, nah, bro. I said, I'm going to still be rocking the Jordans, driving the minivan. I said, Jordans and minivans for life. And I was like, Jordans and minivans, that's kind of a cool slogan, man. He's like, yeah, I kind of like that for you. I said, that'd be like a dope podcast name. I said, someone should do that. He said, you should do that. So I put it in the back of my head. I was like, yeah, maybe I will. I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. The next morning, like not even 12 hours later, I'm out, I take my son for a walk, and so I'm pushing him in the stroller, and I got my earbuds in, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to The Table with Anthony O'Neill, one of my favorite shows, highly recommend it. I'm listening to The Table, and Anthony O'Neill is interviewing a dude named Sean Anthony, who hosts his own podcast called School's Over Now What, which that's now become one of my favorite shows. I also highly recommend that one. And so you got the three Anthonys, my dude Anthony Washington, and then Anthony O'Neill interviewing Sean Anthony. And what they were talking about on The Table that episode was how and why people should start their own podcast. So I was like, cool. All right, maybe there's something here. And so I actually started doing a little bit of work on it. Started just doing a little research into what it took to get a podcast started. Started coming up with some content ideas, stuff like that. And then I let myself kind of get distracted. And this is what I do. I get so afraid of failing that I won't even try something. Just keeping it real. I get so afraid of failing that I won't even try something. And so I'll distract myself with these other good things that I'm doing. And so I distracted myself with some other good things so that I wouldn't put myself out there in this manner. And so several months go by, and only like 5 or 6 people outside of my wife knew that this was an idea that I had. And 3 days in a row, 3 of them asked me how the podcast was going. All completely unrelated people. They each asked me how the podcast was going 3 days in a row. And then I told my wife about it. I was like, hey, hon, like 3 people in a row the last 3 days asked how the Jordans and Minivans podcast was going. I said, maybe I should be working on that. Maybe I should actually do that. And she goes, yeah, you probably should do that. I'm like, all right. So here we are now. We switched it up to Kicks and Minivans. The mission, as I started putting some work into it, the mission became really, really clear. Because, yeah, I like sneakers. We'll talk about sneakers and stuff like that. Each week we'll talk about different sneaker things going on. We'll share kicks of the week, stuff like that. But the heart behind this, the mission behind this is to help men win in marriage and parenting. That's it. There's very little in this life that I'm more passionate about than marriage. And then as soon as I became a dad, that like joined the ranks. I love my wife more than anything on this planet. I love my kids more than anything. And I want to see men win in marriage and parenting. More than like anything else in the world, I want people to love Jesus and love God, and I want people to love their families. And so if I can help any men in that way, then we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And look, I am by no means claiming to be an expert. I do not have this thing figured out. I am an enthusiast. I love my family. I love marriage. I love parenting. But I am so far from an expert. Like, I got 2 under 3. Like, I feel like I'm just surviving some days, to be real. Like, honestly, I feel like there's certain days, like, I get my kids to bed and I'm like, somehow we got here. And I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed. And that's all I got in me for the day. And so some of these episodes will be just kind of me up here sharing something that I've learned. But a lot of the episodes, I'm hoping to get as many guests on here, as many interviews as we can, because there's a lot of people that we can learn from. There's a lot of people that have experiences that would be beneficial for us to gain insight to. And I just want to learn alongside of you guys. I want to bring on different people on here that I can learn from, and that we could collectively be learning and growing together as we're trying to figure out this thing of being a husband and being a dad. And so that's what Kicks and Minivans is really all about. Like, yeah, we'll talk about sneakers. We'll do different stuff with sneakers all the time. But really, man, we're going to be talking about marriage. We're going to be talking about parenting. We're going to be talking about manhood. Like, we're going to be talking about the challenging things. And really what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to inform you, inspire you, and encourage you to be the best husband and dad that you can be. And I'm hoping that I'll be encouraged, inspired, and informed so that I can be the best husband and dad that I can be with you. And so thank you for joining us for the preview episode. We hope that you'll kick in and listen to the launch episodes on November 7th. We're going to be dropping with 2 episodes that day. And then we'll go with an episode every other week following that. Man, I'm so excited to jump into this thing. I'm so excited for the guests that we're going to be having that we can all learn from together. Hey, however you are listening or watching right now, give us a 5-star, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment or review. That really helps us as we're getting this thing out the gate rolling. And if you haven't yet, follow us on Instagram at Kicks Minivans. There's a pinned post at the top of that page where you can win a prize. We're giving away a $100 Nike gift card. And so follow the instructions on that post. You'll be entered to win. And we'll be doing that drawing on launch day, November 7th. But hey, until next time, until then, take care of yourself, take care of your family. This is Kicks Minivans.